Hello, welcome to our presentations for our computer science capstone at Portland State University for the Winter+Spring 2021 terms. My name is Thomas, and I was the team lead for Project EvictionSponge, along with my team members Sam, Danford, Logan, Caillie, Ping, Zhengmao, and Zayne. We are excited to share our project EvictionSponge with you. We will start with a quick overview of EvictionSponge, followed by a demonstration of the app. Then we will go into a little more detail about the features EvictionSponge has to offer. Last, we'll go into our development process and the software architecture, digging more deeply into how we completed our capstone project over the course of 6 months. Let's get started. EvictionSponge is a web application that makes it easier for people who have evictions in Oregon to get them expunged from the records by making it more accessible to lawyers and their clients. It gives clients a list of partners to make finding a lawyer easier. It allows lawyers to look up their clients' names to see if they have eviction cases that are eligible to be expunged. If they are eligible, it automatically fills out the necessary forms to file for expungement. If they're not eligible, it displays a future date that the case will be eligible for expungement. Next, I will hand it over to Sam for a quick demonstration.
Thanks, Thomas. This is the landing page for EvictionSponge. So you can see here, we don't have any partners currently, but we will be looking for some, hopefully in every county, so that defendants can find local help. If we go to the search button here, we're greeted with a login screen. In order to fully use the app, you must have an Oregon eCourts login. So that's where the specific partners will come in to help defendants. If we now switch over to the manual, this manual page gives some basic information about EvictionSponge, as well as instructions on how to use it and some assumptions that we're making for when partners are filling out the search forms for the potential defendants. Let's jump over to a demo now. This page here is showing a demo version of our search feature. So if we put in some test data, it will then pull up a few cards. In the actual search feature, these cards will have a name corresponding to one of the names on the case. So here's the actual case title. If we were to click on this in the actual search feature, it will then go to a stripped out OECI page that has all of the information from OECI, just for at a glance information for the partners to use. Then we have the case number, the current status of the case, where the case took place, the important dates for the case, and then also the button to then take us to the form filler if the person is eligible. Here in the form filler, some of the data from the case has been copied over just for posterity's sake, because some of these things need to be spelled correctly, like the names and the case number. We can also edit these if we wanted to, and we can add in extra information as it's needed, like the person's full name, current address, and something like the city. Once we're ready to then port this over to a PDF, we just click this download PDF button. And that will bring us to a fully filled PDF with all of the information that we had just entered in, like the address in Portland. And this PDF is also editable. So if there's any last minute changes we need to make, we can make them here. And then of course, once you're ready to print off this PDF, you can just go and hit the print button, and then the defendant will be ready to have this filed. And I believe that concludes our demo. I'll now pass it off to Caillie.
Thanks for the demo, Sam. My name is Caillie, and in this section, we will be discussing details and features of the EvictionSponge project, including an overview, the target audience, the main features, additional features, and possible features that could be implemented in the future. The EvictionSponge project is a web-hosted service that allows people in the state of Oregon to find qualified partners to help them apply for eviction expungement. Qualified partners can use the EvictionSponge web application to check the eligibility of those who are seeking an eviction record expungement, and if they are eligible, generates the necessary legal documents auto-filled with the proper information. This software will allow the eviction expungement process to be more accessible to those who are eligible, especially those who may live in more rural areas. The target audience for this software includes people who are seeking eviction expungement in Oregon, as well as lawyers and qualified partners who have an Oregon e-court case information or OECI account. The intended use of this software is to assist a qualified partner in checking the eligibility of a person seeking an eviction expungement. The main features in this project include the search feature, the eligibility calculator, and the PDF filler. The search feature allows the user to enter a client's first and last name into the search bar on the website's search page. It subsequently searches the OECI database for related eviction court filings. If the client's case is found in the database, it will return information that assists in calculating eligibility and fees. If the client's case is not found, it will notify the user. The EvictionSponge eligibility calculator is able to confirm or deny eligibility of expungement based on the date of the final disposition, as well as the outcome of the disposition itself. It is assumed that any case that is being filed for expungement has all money owed to the landlord paid in full. The final main feature is the automatic PDF filler. Each case that is eligible for expungement has a link below the case details that can be clicked to display a form with information that will be auto-filled with case information. Additional information can be added on the form, and the auto-filled information can be edited as well. Once the client is satisfied with the details on the form, they click the download PDF button and it's ready to print. Some additional features associated with the EvictionSponge project include a login page, OECI case page, partner interest page, and fees owed calculator. The login page allows a qualified partner to log in to EvictionSponge with the same credentials they have for the OECI website. The OECI case page provides the user with an image of the results that were found on the OECI website so that they can double check that the information for the form is correct. The partner interest page encourages qualified persons to submit their information to become an EvictionSponge partner. They can click on a link from this page that takes them to a Google form where they can fill out their information for our sponsor to view and add to the list of EvictionSponge partners. The fees owed algorithm calculates the estimated amount of fees owed by the client to the landlord, which is required to be paid in full before expungement. A potential future feature could be one where the client can create an account and view updates related to their eviction expungement process. Another option could be a feature that sends a reminder that is integrated with the client's calendars. Potential future development of EvictionSponge might include adaptation for use in states other than Oregon. This would require knowledge of the processes followed in other states for eviction expungement.
Thank you, Caillie, for the explanation. My name is Zhengmao. So now we will discuss how we achieve our project, like the architecture and development process, the responsibility and the contributions, and the expected events, and the customer feedback lesson learned. Now we will jump to the next page. At this part, I will talk about which framework we choose and how our framework works. As a developer teams, we chose the Flask and React as our basic framework. The Flask has the backend and the React has frontend. To be honest, the Flask and React framework is the latest framework. Facebook used React to build Instagram, which is the most famous social media in our world. Then I want to talk about how our framework works. Before I talk about the frontend, I want to talk about backend first, because the feature of the backend determines our frontend. As the backend, we chose the Python 3 as our basic language, and we use the request and the beautiful soup libraries to help us build a crawler. This crawler can simulate browsers to log into the OECI official website and get the information from the website. And the beautiful soup will analyze the HTML that we get from the OECI website. Then we can return this information to our Flask part. This Flask part is kind of like the API servers. We will send all information to our frontend website. At the front end, we use the React as our development language. Actually, we use two third-party libraries to help us develop this project. One is the material UI. This helps us to realize the basic feature of our pages, like the header and the bottoms and the navigation bar and the button and the cards. And the other is the React Bootstrap, which makes it easier for us to edit the style and the color of website. Thank you.
Thank you, Zhengmao. My name is Ping, and I will be presenting our development process. The EvictionSponge development spanned 2 quarters, from winter 2021 to spring 2021. The development process began with understanding the product requirements and drawing out the design. Because the product requirements were clearly defined by the sponsor from the beginning, we were able to complete this phase in 2 weeks. Following that, we spent a large portion of time on application implementation, and we spent the last 3 weeks primarily on writing tests and revising the application. We adopt an agile development process to develop our product. We coordinate development via Slack and twice a week Zoom meeting. During the meeting, team members report current task progress, help one another in resolving blockers, and plan a new task if the old one is complete. Our Git workflow involves feature branch, a development branch, and a product branch. Developers work on their task on a new feature branch that branch off the development branch. Once the task is complete, the feature branch is merged back into the development branch via pull request. The product branch contains the deployable code. The code pushed to the production branch is automatically built, tested, and deployed to the cloud. We deploy a new production build every 1 to 2 weeks.
Hello, I'm Zayne. At the start of our project, we divided our team into the front end and back end, as is typical for web development. The front end team consisted of Logan, Ping, and Sam. The back end team was Caillie, Danford, Zhengmao, and myself. This allowed us to focus on learning specific tools like React or Flask. We weren't particularly strict on this, as we often ran into situations where the front end couldn't proceed until the back end finished something or vice versa, so people filled in where needed. Thomas was our team leader, and he kept us on track to meet our deadlines. He has definitely earned special recognition for handling the planning and stressful bits that come with large projects, allowing the rest of us to focus on bringing the website to life stress-free. The project went fairly smoothly. We had only one major unexpected event, where the OECI login credentials were accidentally pushed to the Git repository. We did a quick fix by scrubbing the branch history and deleting it, but naturally it's never that easy. It kept popping up here and there due to it being in people's local copies. We eventually resorted to wiping the entire project off of GitHub, scrubbing one local copy clean, and pushing it to a new clean repository. Other than that, the issues we encountered were minor, like half our team using PyCharm and half using other IDEs. PyCharm is particular in that it wants the full import path from the source directory. This happens to cause issues for other IDEs. We had much back and forth removing and adding the paths, but it quickly became a running joke of sorts.
Thanks, Zayne. Hi, I'm Logan, and I'll be going over the feedback our sponsor Michael provided to us over the past half year and how it helped shape our project. Michael told us he was thoroughly impressed with our work, especially with how much we got done in the little time we had. Most of his criticism had to do with the syntactical errors, such as changing some of the text in the case cards and being more specific with why someone is eligible and when they will be eligible. Both problems were easy to fix, as one was just syntactical and the other was already partially done by our case parser. We just needed to get the information back to the front end. He also brought in a friend of his, Lainey Tupper, who also works on these cases, and had us walk her through the site and show off its features. Her feedback was very helpful, especially in regards to the form filler, where we learned we actually filled out too much of it. Lawyers on these cases want to fill in the absolute bare minimum so that the landlords have to work to refute the expungement. So it's best to keep areas pertaining to them blank. Overall, Michael is satisfied with our work on EvictionSponge and is very excited to show it around in the search for potential partners. And he gave us this wonderful quote.
Thanks, Logan. Now for our lessons learned. First and foremost, don't put confidential information up on GitHub. That being said, it is useful to learn how to get it off. Remember to get feedback from the customer early and often, and always ensure that you're following your documentation because that's why it's there. Our advice for future Capstone teams is to communicate often and don't hesitate to ask your team for advice when you're stuck. And honestly, our project seemed truly ideal. We had a kind and understanding sponsor, we had an example material to work with, as well as an excellent and reliable team. This is what Capstone should strive to be. In conclusion, we'd like to thank Michael Zhang, we'd like to thank the EvictionSponge team at Code for PDX, and Bruce Irvine. And I'd like to speak for the entire EvictionSponge team when I say thank you for watching.